Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gersh1, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the worlds of the Imperium as we get into the ocean world of Far Draconis. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day, and if you have any suggestions, just comment down below. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on Far Draconis. Far Draconis is a world that exists at the very edge of the sector, and one occupying a precarious warp route. It is an ocean world orbited by a satellite so dense that it inflicts an incredible tidal effect upon the sea below. As the satellite passes through the sky, the highly toxic seas are drawn towards it. As the acidic waters rise hundreds of meters, the seabed on the other side of the world is exposed, a process that takes around 40 standard hours. What continues to draw curious individuals to Far Draconis is the fact that when exposed by its satellite tidal pull, the ocean floor is revealed to host many kilometers of sunken ruins. None can tell if they are human or Xeno origin, but the ruins are certainly ancient. All are of a uniform white marble, covered in tons of seaweed and barnacle-like life. Amongst the massive structures can be found oddly shaped metallic objects, known to command high prices amongst those aristocrats with a taste for the forbidden. The true function of these small artifacts is unknown, but many become the basis for fine jewelry or unusual sculptures. Recovering them is a dangerous task, even once a dry area is found. Lurking predators, evolved to the tidal shifts, emerge to attack without warning. Salvagers must fight them off and locate treasures quickly, for the highly toxic seas soon return, and there is no way of halting the lethal waters. And those were 40 facts on Far Draconis. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, whatever social media you guys use. It really helps out the channel when you do so. What's interesting about this lore is that it gives me some ideas as far as the tabletop game. If you play 40K on the tabletop, you will know that sometimes certain pieces of terrain are neglected. And if you create your own terrain, it's a huge bummer if you invite your friends over and then you're playing on a board and you have this really cool piece of elevated terrain or whatever, and you want people to go towards it, but they end up going away from it, or the strategic point is somewhere completely different. This happens a lot when that piece of terrain is on the corner. I'm currently building a modular terrain set, and when it comes to modular terrain sets, usually the corners tend to be the joining points, so they often get neglected because when you're actually playing the game, the important parts tend to be 12 inches within the borders, if you get what I'm saying. So creating something that puts a rule that says, at a certain amount of time, something is going to happen, so you need to work your army a certain type of way. What I mean is, let's say I invite all my friends over, and I would say, we are battling on the world of Far Draconis, and every other turn, the sea sweeps in and there's a huge flood. So any model or any unit that's not on elevated terrain is going to suffer a D6 mortal wound or something of that nature. That's going to push everybody who plays on my board to kind of seek the elevated terrain and thus creating or allowing people to use the terrain that I'm building. So creating cool, interesting little board rules like that, I think, gives you the opportunity to use certain pieces of terrain and also changes up the game a little bit, because people are going to have to maneuver their armies differently and really think about what's going to happen, next turn and all that kind of stuff. It just adds a whole nother element. And then you could do the reverse thing too, and instead of saying that people have to get on elevated terrain, you could say, every other turn, warp vampires or warp entities sweep down, and they're going to do damage to your models or to your units if you don't jump into the caverns that I've created for this piece of terrain. Just an idea. If you've already tried this, let me know how it went. If you have created interesting terrain rules that have been fun for you while you're playing, let me know. because like I said, I'm building my own terrain, and I really want to know what cool rules there are out there and what you've thought of. But yeah, with that said, I'll talk to you tomorrow. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.